All right.
Good morning.
Morning. Hey, I'm Peggy.
And I'm Amanda.
And you are watching the Junction Fiber Mill Millcast. I'm getting so hokey about that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Another
weekend?
Monday. You know what? It was pretty good. It was pretty good. We had some nice sunshine.
Yeah. Gotta love the winter sun. Like at least it's pretty, right?
Yeah.
At least it's pretty.
Yeah. And what's weird for us is we had all that snow and we've had so much wind that so much of it is just blown over to the next field. Although this morning I went to walk the dog saying, wow, I think I can see some grass. I'll just walk out. And I just had my shallow boots. Bam. It's blown, but then it gets drifty. So all of a sudden I'm halfway down the field with the dogs and I'm up to my knees going, okay, boys and girls, we're going back up and taking the driveway. Anyway. Yeah. How was your weekend?
It was good. I had to make notes because again, mom brain. I'm on Monday, I don't know at all what I did this last weekend.
Yeah.
So my notes tell me that we did get outside. We enjoyed the sunshine. Cody and the kids especially got out on Saturday when it was nice and bright out, and they made snow forts in the giant snowbanks that we've got.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, they were a little about going up there, but we also made a fun there's a little it almost looks like you've got the huge. So the snowbank, Cody built a little walkway behind the top of it, and it's between the sheep winter quarters and the driveway.
Oh,
so you walk up behind it, and then he made a little slide down into the driveway.
Nice.
So it's fun to go up there and throw snowballs.
Yeah. Oh, that's
fun.
good.
But yesterday I took Maeve to see her first theater.
Oh, really?
We went to the Northern Stage, which is just up the road from us.
Yeah.
They had a half-hour performance of Frozen Kids, which
how perfect.
I had no idea what it was. Actually, somebody came to our open house who works for Northern Stage doing set design, and I was asking them what shows you work on.
Northern Stage is the beloved. I was going to say community theater, but it's not that. It is a great big badass structure in downtown White River Junction. I think the seating capacity is around 250.
It's a gem for our community.
Yeah, and it has extraordinary productions.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple of things there. This one was just it was the local school kids. And I didn't realize, so it was maybe third graders through sixth graders who are getting together to do
that's perfect
a production of Frozen, and as
a half-hour version,
which was I was great, Maeve and I can handle a half hour. So we got our little seats. She barely doesn't get folded into the seat. She sit on the edge, Maeve.
Right.
And then we just saw all the kids come out.
Did she enjoy it?
She really enjoyed it. She's been really into movies lately. We've started showing her some of the classic Disney or the Ghibli films. And so, sidebar on that, we watched Lion King this weekend.
Ooh.
The dad dies, And death is not a subject we've really talked about. So, but she was weeping.
Uh-oh.
I know. And so I've it's part of life. But it was just you think 2-year-olds don't have the ability to understand a complex situation. They do. So she's still talking about that. Anyways, it's a really fun phase. She loved the theater. It was really cute for us to go do something.
Excellent. We're actually going to Northern Stage. My sister Eileen and I and our neighbor friend Maggie Burnett are
going. You see The Waitress?
Exactly. We're seeing on the Sunday the 23rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Can't wait.
Yeah, so fun. So what did you get up to this weekend?
Did some house chores. A lot of times on the weekend, Todd and I go out for lunch. And it's sort of which direction do you want to head? And so we went down to Brownsville for the Brownsville Butchery. Man,
Brownsville
it was
Butcher and
general
Pantry.
and pantry. They're rocking it.
Yeah, the food is so amazing. If you ever head through that area, it's not close to here.
But. No, but it was a beautiful drive. We took the back roads down. Bright snow. It was fun. Went down there. The place was packed.
Yeah, always is.
Rumor has it that they. The Brownsville Butcher and
Should
Pantry.
you share this rumor on the Millcast?
Well, they're opening up in Norwich.
No way.
Yes way.
Oh my God! I can't. I'm not prepared to take this news live.
Rumor has it they're going in where the Blue Sparrow was in downtown Norwich.
Oh my God! I'm crying. Oh my gosh. Okay, Norwich just needs something like that.
Yes, it does. That's big news.
So thrilling.
I hope I'm not wrong. Anyway, we're going way in the weeds with the locals.
Okay.
They're knocking down the wall between the liquor store.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
okay.
stay tuned.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you all about that if it happens.
Hey, I want to mention something before we get to, because I forgot to do this last week. my birthday now was a couple of weeks ago. But you guys, I thank you so much for all the incredible, kind comments. Turning old, it's not, they always say it's not for faint of heart. What are you going to do? As they say, beats the alternative. But I want to thank all the lovely comments that folks made. I really appreciated it. That was very thoughtful. So, yeah.
On the subject of birthdays.
Yeah.
Lewis is turning 1 next weekend.
Incredible.
I know.
Don't you feel like that's a year that flew for that kid?
Yeah, I feel pretty sad in a way about it because he's just been the best baby, and like I think 1 just kind of marks like
They'll
he's still
cuddle.
a baby.
They'll still
but
cuddle,
it's just
right?
like it's a different time. It's a new chapter.
Yeah.
And obviously I think we're all kind of this way, but I feel things as they come annually. So I'm feeling the feelings I was having last year a little bit, like a little shadow of them. And I was, out to here, and we had our open house.
That's right.
On March 1st.
Yeah.
I went into labor at the open house, and I was like at the cash register. I just remember Peg asked me to put up the samples, and the samples were like kind of on the box on the floor, and my literally you requested that I put them up on hang them, and I remember being like, I'll show her who's gonna put up the dang samples, or probably meaner thoughts than that. Yikes. And I was like, oh, that was a sign. That was not a normal reaction. Anyway, I was like doing the cash register in labor. I had him 3 hours later.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The second one, a wet bar of soap, baby. Anyway, I know. Cross the line.
Okay, into the knitting.
Yeah,
yarn.
Yarn. We're pretty excited about this. We've talked to you about Roots. Roots is our solid colorway, making it out of the same fibers that we do making tracks, so they absolutely will talk to each other. And we got the DK version going, and now drum roll. We've got some, and I love these 3 next to each other.
We have
the
lovely
light
colors.
Yeah, look at those colors. All 3 on their own are yum, and together like that, I just love it. And then you've got out some samples.
Well, I want to, let me show them really close. So this is Ochre, which is, again, we just did the same, these are samesies with the DKs right now.
Absolutely.
Just, translated into sport weight. This is Paprika, and this is Blueberry. And, I got out some samples because we are, to celebrate this new yarn, we have assembled some yarn bundles. Yeah. One of which is what I'm wearing. This is the Alpine Bloom Hat.
You guys have seen this on Ravelry. It's everywhere, and boy, is it fun looking.
Yeah, so you get to see the subtle changes of the skein as you knit, and you're making these just beautiful. And
you can do this
flowers.
In DK or light. That what you're wearing happened to have been done in the light.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I think so.
But anyways, it's perfect for sport weight. It's a really nice, light hat.
Yeah, it's very cute.
And we put 3 bundles together, so let me reassemble. This is... before I show you the yarn bundle color choices, we also are offering a crochet bundle as well, which is, we don't have a sample of it, but you can see a picture there. It's fun, because it's not actually there when we're recording this. The magic of movies, but this is the Wesley Cowl.
Right.
That's crochet. Yeah. It looks knit, so you would never know it's not crochet. But anyways, or it's not knit. Never know it's not knit. Anyways, here's the colors. Blueberry and Carnival. We thought those looked really lovely together. And that's actually what I've got going on here. And then we have, let me see, these 2 together. Yes, this is the other one. Tangerine Twist and Paprika.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. And we did Ochre and...
This is pretty sweet, too.
Leaf Peeping.
Yeah, those
are our suggestions for our value. It's a value bundle. So basically, you got the yarn needed to make those patterns, and you also save 10%. But that's not to say you can't pick your own colors.
Yeah, of course.
You could also do a virtual appointment, and Liz can help you pick some colors, or Liz or whomever is on for virtual appointments that day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cute.
So yeah, hopefully that helps you flesh out your...
inspiration.
Yeah. We'll keep the new colors coming, but we wanted to launch with at least 3.
3.
And I'll grab it. It's not labeled as such yet, but Making Tracks Undyed is technically gonna transition to the Roots line now that we have that family. Because it's a solid with the same base as Making Tracks.
Love those 2 together.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah. So on the other side there, you've got them. And then the last. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous?
It's very patriotic.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's all good.
Love it.
Yeah. We've been busy in the mill. I say that, but we're always busy in the mill. Hey, you had a really interesting interview.
I did. I got to chat for the second year in a row with
Yeah.
Laura Nelkin, who is once again putting on the Knit for Food Knit-A-Thon. I've got my little info here, so I'll tell you the correct facts. But the Knit for Food Knit-A-Thon is a 12-hour knitting marathon. You know, running, you know, like when you sign up for a race sometimes for charity, you can go ahead and raise money before you do it, and then you do this incredible physical feat, which is running your half marathon or marathon or whatever. This is that.
A knitting marathon.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Currently, well, I'll get to the interview and we'll chat more about our team in a bit. So here is Laura Nelkin and I talking about the Knit for Food Knit-A-Thon.
Laura, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to get into Knit for Food, but I want to start with you sort of describing, it's not all you do in a year. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you've been up to?
Sure. Hi. Well, first of all, thanks for asking me onto the Millcast. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Laura Nelkin. I am a knitwear designer. I live in upstate New York in the Finger Lakes region. And I've been designing knitting patterns for, I think, going on 20 years now. It's funny, every year I do an interview, I technically have to add a year to that. And suddenly I think I hit the 20-ish mark. So I wasn't always a knitter. I was originally a apparel designer and weaver. So I was weaving cloth and then making apparel out of cloth. And I did a fair amount of dyeing when I was a weaver. And when I got pregnant and had my daughter, I found it very hard to be at the dye pots and be at the loom, which I'm sure you can really understand.
Absolutely.
It's pretty hard with littles underfoot. And I got a little bit frustrated creatively, I would say. And then one day, one of my daughter's friends' moms asked me if I wanted to learn how to knit. And I was a little desperate and said, yes, please, yes. And so she taught me how to knit. She was from Saskatoon. She learned how to knit from from a neighbor who was from Norway. And that is why I hold my yarn in my left hand. I always love like the origin knitting story, right? Like, how do we all knit? We knit the way we knit because of who taught us how to knit. And she was a fearless knitter, so I just jumped right in with things. And 20 years later, I have a slew of knitting patterns. I think I have almost 400 designs. It's like in the over 350 range, and I am constantly having new ideas. I think
you do a lot of like very creative work with beads and jewelry and all sorts of really cool stuff. I'm very impressed. It's a lot of techniques I have not gotten into, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, I have like so much from my creative past. Like when I was a teenager, I did a lot of beading. And so I had this kind of like mashup phase with this creativity I had from that place where I wanted to like, you know, dive into that. And I don't always design with beads, but when I don't design with beads, people are like, where are the beads? And a lot of, you know, those who've been knitting my patterns for a while have started learning how to like add beads to everything. And I'm like, not everything needs a bead, right? But they do add a little bit of texture and dimensionality to things, which is really fun. And a little bit of weight, which can be nice on a lightweight piece. So I knit things like beaded jewelry I do a lot of. I knit a lot of lace. This fall, I do a mystery knit along once a year. I've been doing a mystery cowl for something I do called Cowltober, which is like
this past cowl looks insane. Like I was looking at what do you call it? The cowltopus?
Cowltopus. So cowltopus, I actually happen to have one right here. Cowltopus, I can put it a little closer. Cowltopus is a cowl. It was started from the top down flat with Judy's Magic Cast On. And I just told everybody how much yarn they needed and that they were knitting a cowl and that it was called Cowltopus. And it really ended up being like an octopus mantle. Right?
Yeah.
Like I had a whole plan. It had a hood. It was like you were basically
and it looks like you can like fold up part of it to cover your mouth with. It's just like kind of
so
wild.
You can actually take it and fold the cowl to the inside like that, and then put it over your head, and then you've got a balaclava.
Yeah.
Or a baklava, as my daughter likes to say, right? Or you can wear it just with the cowl over your head. But I kind of waited to show everybody that piece until it got cold enough, because in October, everybody was like, why would I want to wear? And we've just had the coldest winter. I don't know about you. But...
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm like staring. I'm at home where I'm recording this interview, and just like so much snow, and my body is still so sore from shoveling yesterday. So anyways, But yeah, so that's awesome. So the Cowtober, and you'll do that again this year too?
Yeah, I do Caltober. I've been doing Caltober every year, and like on Instagram, I just highlight one of my many cowl patterns every day, and there's always like some kind of discounts going on or fun, and we do a knit along with all my cowl patterns, and I do a mystery knit along at the same time. So,
Love it. Well, you
yeah.
mentioned your daughter sort of inadvertently making you into this sort of knitter that you are today via, her, a mom friend at the time. But I read on the website for Knit for Food that it was your daughter who inspired you to start this
Yeah.
initiative.
Yeah, it's funny how our kids really get our creative juices flowing, right? So during COVID, and I'll explain what Knit for Food is in a second. During COVID, my daughter was a sophomore in college, and she came home like all college age students. We were all a little shocked by being in the house together again. And after her semester was finished, she ended up getting an AmeriCorps position with our local food bank. And so she spent that summer of 2020 on the phone registering my neighbors who were hungry for local food distributions. And sometimes she would get phone calls from people in California who thought they were signing up for something locally, but they had found the wrong food bank, and she'd have to kind of help them find their local food bank to find a food distribution. And I just
Hmm.
had no idea how many of my neighbors were experiencing hunger and food insecurity. I actually had no
Mm.
idea what food insecurity was. Like I've been hungry because I've gone on a hike and I forgot a granola bar, but I've never experienced that kind of like, I don't know
Mm.
how I'm paying for my groceries, or how am I deciding between paying for my electric bill or buying groceries for the week, or like how I'm paying for dinner tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And after she left and went back to college, I think I was taking a shower one day, and I get all my ideas in the shower, including Caltipus. And and I was like, okay, I need to do something. I need an action. Just listening to the news it's not enough for me right now. And like filling out some kind of form online. And I had heard about a knitting marathon that was a 12-hour knitting marathon to raise money for Black Lives Matter. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I could take that model and apply it to hunger and food insecurity and just do something, like do
Hmm.
something hard. Knitting for 12 hours is hard.
Hmm.
So I pitched the idea to some of my friends in my Ravelry group, and they all thought it was an awesome idea. And we started kind of like pitching it wider to be like, is this something people would be interested in? Can we get some kind of movement going? And I just got a resounding yes from everybody who wanted an action, like wanted to do something, which
Yep.
I think right now we are all really feeling that need to do, right? Not just to
Hmm.
like sit and soak it in, but do something to make a change. So the fundraiser is actually pretty much the same nugget that it started as in 2020, in that we are knitting for 12 hours to raise funds for hunger and food insecurity in America and abroad, really. We are fundraising for 4 organizations. 100% of the funds raised are donated equally between Feeding America, World Central Kitchen, No Kid Hungry, and Meals on Wheels. So those
Hmm.
work. World Central Kitchen works both domestically and abroad. Those other 3 organizations are really US based organizations. And the first year I actually had the stats up, and of course I moved it. So let me drag this over here so I can like read straight ahead of me. The first year we raised $265,000, which just blew me away. So our first year was in 2021. And last year we raised $379,000 and 379 and $10. Sorry, I didn't get that quite right.
Yep.
So this year our goal is 379 and $11. My goal every year is just like $1 more than last year. It seems like you always want to do a little better, but that
Yep.
number last year just blew us away. So in the last 4 years, we've raised over $1.25 million for hunger and
Wow.
food insecurity. And
That's
an
awesome.
important piece of what we do is that 100% of that funds raised. So 100% of the funds that knitters are raising by knitting and asking people to sponsor them are going straight to those 4 organizations. We're not a 501c3. We have no expenses. The very few expenses that we have, like graphics and Zoom and like a few other things, are covered by merch. So we have merch that we make like $1 a t-shirt on, and that manages to cover those very small expenses that we have. And everything else is donated, like all of our time and labor for the team that manages all the emails, my labor kind of organizing things. It's all volunteer based.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty,
So
pretty,
how do
pretty
people,
cool.
how can we get like, so the event is basically similar format to a running marathon where
Yeah.
you're raising money for charity by doing this incredible feat. But how do folks sign up? What's the process like?
So all they have to do is go to knitforfood.com and they
Hmm.
can read all about the fundraiser there. This year's fundraiser is on April 5th from
Okay.
10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hmm.
There are public meetups happening around the country, which is pretty exciting. The first year, obviously, we didn't have any public meetups. Last year, we had the most public meetups ever. This year, I think we already have 37 or 38 public
Wow.
meetups registered. So if you go to knitforfood.com, everything I'm talking about is linked there. A link to register a public sign up, a link to look for a public meetup near you, information about the 4 organizations we're fundraising for, um, information about the Zoom. So one of the elements of Knit for Food is that in the morning and the evening, we have Zoom events where we hear from the 4 organizations. We have a super fun game night with Patty Lyons. This year, I'm asking some knitters to come on to talk about their personal experiences, either receiving food from World Central Kitchen. A bunch of people who experienced the hurricane in Asheville this summer received bread from World Central Kitchen, who had never thought they would ever be in a
Hmm.
position to need to like get food from an aid organization, and they'd been knitting for Knit for Food for years. Um, and we keep the Zoom fun. We always have a dance party in there to keep people energized towards the end of the night. But we only have it in the morning for a bit of time and then in the evening, because during the day people are really getting together and knitting together, which is so fun. And they have kind of fundraisers. I did a big stash down last year at my public event where I brought like all the yarn I didn't want anymore in my stash. And then whatever sold, that money went to Knit for Food as well.
Wow, that's a
So
great idea.
yeah, people got really, we all got pretty creative with like how do we kind of like generate extra money. My stash was thankful. It was because
Yeah,
now I
I'm
have new
sure.
yarn. I know. It's
That's
nice
a
to be
fabulous
full
idea.
again.
I love not only knitting all day, which is good for the soul in so many ways, but also gathering with people and then yeah, finding ways to even yeah, stash down or do something. I'm going to use that. I've never heard that term before, but I love it. The stash down fundraiser.
Totally. Yeah,
That's great.
it's like that's a kind of a sunk cost, I guess we would call it in business, right?
Yeah.
Like I've already bought the yarn and sometimes,
Yep.
you know, colors get discontinued or like I didn't have enough yardage to do something. So
Yep.
it's a great way of doing like a nice cleansing, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if
Brilliant.
people want to join us, you just go to knitforfood.com and you can click a few things. You can click join, you can click join a team. So if Junction Fiber Mill, for example, has a team, I know you all set up a team,
Yep.
thank you, and you want to join Junction Fiber Mill's team, you would click on join a team, you would register yourself. If you've knit with us before, you'll already have an account with the company we work with, Give Butter, so you'll sign in with your account. And then you can either choose a team to join. So you can just do in the search, look for Junction Fiber Mill, or you can set up your own team if you are setting up a public meetup and you want to have your own team. And then you set yourself up as an individual member. And then you can set a fundraising goal for yourself. You can tell your story, like why you're knitting for food. And then when you sign up, you'll get a link that's your personal link. And that is the link that you will share with your friends and family and say to them, I am doing a hard thing. I am knitting for 12 hours to raise funds for hunger and food insecurity. And will you sponsor me in that? Just like if you were running a marathon or like biking around a lake. Um,
Yeah.
One of the things I find is that knitters are very generous, right? Like we knit more than we can wear things on our bodies. And we have many people in our lives that have been recipients of our knits. Those
Mhm.
are the people, when people say to me, I don't know how to do this, this feels so awkward, like cringy feel about fundraising, just go to those people you have gifted a knit to before and be like,
Yep.
hey, do you remember that hat I knit you that you wear, that cowtopus that you shoveled in, all winter long? That turns out there were strings attached to that knit good.
Literal.
Literal yarn attached. Donate and send
Yeah.
them your link, and then they donate to your team. The most important thing we can be doing now, between now and April 5th, is letting people know about the knit-a-thon. The thing that like maybe burns me the most is when somebody says, oh, I hadn't heard about this. I would have joined in. I would have gotten my guild in it. I would have gotten my local yarn store going. We've got a lot of time. Right now, we have about 6 weeks to go. I know when this comes out, it might be like 3 or 4 weeks. There is tons of time. 2 years ago, our top fundraiser joined 2 days before the knit-a-thon.
That's incredible.
So it's never too late to join in and help us raise funds.
So Laura, I asking for myself. I logistically cannot knit for 12 hours at this point in my life with 2 little kids. Can I still participate?
That is a great question. Yes, you may. So there are no knitting police. And what a
Phew.
lot of people take it like super seriously, which I just like adore. They get their snacks all ready. Their family is there to serve them, right? Like they have a schedule for meals and like people
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
care of them. They've got teams and they like go at it for 12 hours. Other people a little looser. They kind of start on Friday and on Monday. They like snag in a few hours. Also,
Yep.
if you don't get to totally 12 hours, it's okay because it's not like anybody's like checking you off and then you failed and the money goes back. The moment somebody has donated to your team, the money is going to those 4 organizations. So
Yeah.
take that 12 hours with a grain of salt.
Thank you. All right, will do. Laura, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you about Knit for Food?
Um, I don't think so. I'm sure if somebody has a question, this is a great way. So when you look at knitforfood.com, as you read through the links, one of those links goes to an FAQ on my website, and that answers a lot of questions in depth, like how do I set up a team? How do I set up a public meetup? Anything else you're thinking of, go ahead and read through that FAQ. And if you still have questions, at the end, there's a link to the Knit for Food email, and we have a slew of answers. We've gotten all the questions over the years, so we are happy to kind of set anybody straight if they're confused. On the back end of things, if somebody joined one team and then wants to join another team, that has to be done on the Give Butter site, and I do that. All you have to do is send us an email at
Yep.
knitforfood@nelkindesigns.com. We can do that. So it's pretty easy to move things around. If somebody like doesn't donate correctly to your team and you need that reassigned, we can also take care of that. It's pretty easy.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and giving us all the info. I'm so excited for April 5th, and I just wish you all the success. I wish all of us the success raising money for these really good causes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on the Millcast.
It's very inspiring.
It is such a cool initiative.
Yeah, it
and
really is.
It's great to see it continue and grow and raise money for really good causes, which we talked about. So
join our team.
Fiber Mill.
Yeah.
We have a team.
We do.
And you can donate money as part of our team to help us reach our goal, which we're trying to raise twice as much as we raised last year.
Okay.
And also, not just you, the knitter, can do that, but tell your friends and family to support you in doing this. It's for a great cause. I loved Laura's idea that like anyone you made knit goods for, because knitters are really generous with their knitting skills. This is the time.
Yeah, payback.
Payback.
Payback time. Yeah, you liking that hat I knit for you? Yeah, sign up on the sheet here.
So as a mom of 2 small kids, as previously established, I unfortunately do not have 12 hours to knit that day, but I will still be donating to our team.
Yep.
And I will commit to knitting whatever I can that day. But this year...
And the date is?
April 5th.
April
Great
5th.
question.
Yeah.
This year, we are not going to do a little Zoom group. We just decided we thought it was a little bit big to handle like the amount of folks on there.
Yeah.
And we want to encourage you to get out in real life with other knitters. I think more than ever, community is important.
Yeah,
right now.
and so look for meetups in your area for this cause.
Yeah, if you go, they have a whole bunch listed on the website. So if you go to the Give Butter website, there should be a place to find.
And the
all
link will
different
be
meetups.
below
Yep.
on this YouTube video, so you can find all the info you need.
Yep. So
Very cool.
Go knit in person.
Go knit in person. Go knit.
Yes. Or
All right.
or find a Zoom too. Zooms are great.
Yeah.
They work for you.
So going back to I mentioned earlier all the happy birthday comments. And looking over the comments, there's one that I came across that I kind of did a head snap and realized that we hadn't really talked about, and that's the notion of 3-ply. And the comment, I believe, was, does 3-ply make the yarn fatter? And the answer is yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. In our mill, it does not make it fatter.
Per se. I'd say all things held equal, if you took 2 plies and plied them together, or 3 plies and they were the same single size,
Then it
would
would
be
be.
a fatter yarn.
But if you are trying to make a yarn that is, it's yards per inch. If you were going to make it, say, I want, 200 yards
per pound.
pound, then you're going to set the dial so that the single, and it's a 2-ply, those singles, when it's combined, will get you to that weight.
Mm-hmm.
If you want it to be that same weight and you want to do 3-ply, then those 3 will be skinnier than the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're spinning, we have control over how fat the single is. And that's why we can make a 3-ply and a 2-ply weigh the same, because it just means on the 3-ply, the 3 are skinnier than the 2-ply fat. That's in our mill. But if you're a woolen mill, like Green Mountain Spinnery, which is just down the road from us, a woolen mill is behaving differently, because when it comes off the carder, it's coming off as like pencil roving.
Which is just like, it's really thin roving, and the fibers are still kind of going every which way, which gives the woolen yarn a lot of like loft and warmth to it.
Right.
But you're not able to use draft or the pulling of the fibers.
It comes off
to
as a
affect it.
pencil.
And then you simply put the twist.
Yeah, it's the same pencil all the time, all
and they
day
call
long.
it pencil roving because it's about the size.
Right.
Of a
And
pencil.
so for them to do a 2-ply is going to be 2 pencils, 3-ply is going to be 3 pencils. In other words, they can't adjust this. We can adjust this.
Yeah, ours is actually, it's more of a cucumber size.
Yeah, cucumber
And
that we can then draft to be thinner and thinner and
Yeah,
thinner.
that's why if you look at the videos of our spinner, we've got like 5 different rollers. And what those rollers are doing is they're drafting and making
Right.
that final bundle be the exact size that we want it to be when it hits the twist.
Right.
So yeah, what Peg said is like, if someone comes in and they want 500 yards per pound yarn, we can do that in, technically you could do it in a single ply. We don't really do that here,
We don't
just
do
because we
singles.
like it to be a balanced yarn, and
Right.
ply helps with that. We could do it in 2-ply, 3-ply. Technically, we could do it in 11-ply, but
Right.
again, not really feasible
For us, we really kind of toggle between 2 and 3-ply. But at another time, we will also do a visual demonstration of it. Hopefully, we've explained it clearly.
This doesn't count as a visual demonstration.
And
in case folks
if you've got the pen wrapping around with the
I'll just real quick. Here's a little visual, just so you see what we mean by ply. So this is our yarn. This is a 2-ply. And if I unravel it here, you can actually see those individual 2 strands. I don't know if the camera will let me.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah. And so for us, the primary difference when we talk about 2-ply, 3-ply is the actual shape
Right.
of the strand of yarn. With a 2-ply, it gives a little bit of double helix look, so it's got
Right.
little bumps
Little
on
pearls,
it.
as sometimes how it sometimes gets described. You can sort of see it, lumpy, 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 lump.
Yeah.
Whereas with the 3-ply, because it's 3 going around, it gets more rounded.
It
and
looks like a spaghetti.
yeah, it looks smoother because you're putting 3 together.
Which makes
Anyway.
it absolutely lovely for things that you're using texture work for,
Yeah, like
cables or even just like
Gansey.
knit and purl techniques.
Yeah,
like you find
Gansey
on
sweaters,
Gansey.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, just
That's
wanted
that.
to cover
and
that.
on the subject of 3-ply, we didn't cover this earlier. Corriedale Confetti, which was our latest 3-ply.
Yeah.
There were some live and learns there. Once again,
No, what do we call? This is our lean in Corriedale Confetti Confessions. First of all, we have to say we learned our lesson and we made a lot.
We made like 370
Yeah,
stamps,
we
like
thought
that.
we had made plenty.
A lot. Between the 2 colors.
Yeah. Everything went great with the pale pink. Had the right amount, it sold out.
Well, everything did not go great. I just want to mention that part of the problem was that the yarn turned out beautifully. We're really proud of it. But because of the way this yarn, it's not making tracks. This was like a batch of fleeces from a farm.
A terrific farm in upstate New York, and it's Corriedale. It's what you and I have, Corriedale.
Mm-hmm.
And
so we thought we knew it really well, but all fleeces are different, and we don't know if it was something with our soap recipe getting changed or what. But
we really struggled to get it as clean as it needed to be, and
so it slowed us down. And
big time, because what happened? We thought it was clean. We put it through, picked it, carded it. Thought a little sticky, but it's going through. And then it got to the pin drafter. Then it got to the spinner, and we had to pull it all back and rewash some of it. It was oh God, I say live and learn, but we've been here before.
Well, I think so we thought that it was like, oh, we just need to wash it one more time and then good to go. Meanwhile, because we're like trying to be marketing geniuses over here, we've been promoting this thing and saying, this is the day it's coming out. This is the day it's coming out.
Right.
And so what we really learned this time around is like, we don't know what we don't know until we get there.
Right.
And so we did change the date one time, but I think what ended up happening, the problem was, we were down to the wire on
because we had said we were going to make it available on day X, and we were still rinsing it, labeling it.
Yep.
So when we did the count, because it was all in all these different areas, our count got screwed up.
So the yarn was beautiful.
The yarn was beautiful.
Thrilled.
The
we
number of skeins
oversold about 50, 60 skeins, something like that, because we think a basket got double counted.
Got counted twice, and that's a painful lesson for all involved, and for those who we had to reach out to and really say we screwed up. We're very, very sorry. So our big lesson is we are not going to mention and start promoting special runs that start with raw wool, because, pardon me, shit happens, and you can't have marketing making promises that production can't deliver on. Right? I mean, so we
absolutely.
Have to,
so we just are learning that as the team grows, as complexity grows, as all this stuff, we need to like get on a little bit different of a schedule.
Right.
It's not, Peg and I, like when it was just the two of us running the mill, it's like so fun to be like,
let's
have this
go.
idea. 3 days later, here's the yarn.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
That's just not where we're at now, which is, it's growing. It's growing pains.
It's a little bit of growing pains. But again, we apologize for people that we overserved, oversold. But we did learn some lessons, and
we also know that you love the yarn. We're gonna make more.
We are gonna make more.
Point.
We are going to make more, but it's the same thing where we have to make certain we've sourced the wool that we really want to work with, and then we got to scour it and all those good things. So,
and we still would love to tell you stories about it. They just might be a little bit further in the past than
But we're going to capture the stories as we go.
Yep.
And then when we know it's spun, we'll start talking about it. Until then, zip it.
Hard for us. So hard.
I was going to say sort of. So anyway, so what are you knitting?
Well, you were going to talk about sleeves.
I am. That has to do with what I'm...
Okay. You want me to show what I'm knitting first?
Yeah.
Great. I finally got to...
you connected the...
I connected it. Now it looks like a bikini top.
I was going to say, is it a diaper? You put your legs in here.
No,
all right,
so
now you've connected it. Okay.
It's going to be this. It's basically, it is this vest. This is the Stockholm slipover, but without the V-neck. This is whatever the
you're
round,
doing a V-neck.
Round neck.
Yep.
This is the pattern with the V-neck. So simply, I have connected them, and I'm now in the round and round.
Very good.
Which is great, because that is about all my brain can handle right now. So I'm excited to just be round and rounding it.
Excellent.
So it's coming along slowly but surely.
So the reason you saw sleeves on the note here is I have made progress. The last time I didn't even bother because I hadn't made much progress. But the question I had raised was, how do you deal with sleeves, especially when you're doing a men's sweater where you've done the yoke, and now you've got all this, and you've gone all the way down, and now you're turning everything around to get to do the sleeves. Some terrific suggestions out there. Several people gave me a suggestion I had absolutely never heard of.
Okay.
Pillowcase.
Okay, so you put the sweater in
the pillowcase? So you put the
pillowcase?
whole sweater in a pillowcase.
Okay.
So that all you're turning is the pillowcase and not all the different parts.
Great. And also that means you're like fondling your yarn less, which is probably good for it.
Okay.
Well, you know, the more friction, then you're causing pilling.
So I've got the body done, and I thought I'd have the sleeve done. I have an 1.5 inches to go. on the sleeve.
Okay.
But again, I had it all loaded in here
And this is the Dustland by
Stephen West. And so there you are knitting,
Nice.
and it goes, and then you just pick this up and switch it around. It really, when you're now at this point, it's kind of easy just to turn it. But back here,
Yeah.
the pillowcase was huge.
Awesome.
A
Love
great
it. Thanks for the
suggestion. So
suggestion.
thank you very, very much. But I got to be honest, I'm ready to be done with this.
Oh, I'm never knitting another sleeve in my life.
Well,
I feel right
just
now.
all vest all the time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I did this sweater for my husband, so I'm very familiar with it. And this is, I knit it, then I tore it all out. If I thought I could get away with you didn't want a sweater with just one sleeve? But
When is that trend coming into fashion?
Never.
Knitters everywhere would rejoice.
yeah, never.
Just
Yeah.
flip it around when the other arm gets cold.
You know you're done when while you're knitting, you're thinking of what I wish I were knitting.
Ooh, yeah.
Because we've seen a couple of patterns come in.
See,
that-
this is...
that
I'm
like
just
going,
going to say one
"Ooh."
thing.
Yeah.
You could start to be a little more polygamous with your knitting.
Oh, are you kidding? I got to finish this for my son-in-law. No. And my husband is out of town. He is once again doing his annual trek to go skiing with my brothers, so his brother-in-laws.
Uh-huh.
I think there's 5 of them. They do it every year. They go to Utah, and it's very much what happens in Utah stays in Utah.
Oh, God. You make it sound so bad. I can know.
Well, they rent this really, really nice house, and I think they play card games, perhaps drink a little too much alcohol, and get some skiing in. And they have a great time, and I love that they're doing it. What the good news is, the forecast is supposed to be great. Warm weather. Last year, same time, blizzard conditions, furnace broke, tractor broke. So hopefully this week will go a little more smoothly, but plenty of time to knit.
Great.
Plenty of time
Love
to knit.
it.
So, yeah.
Okay. So what we got coming up?
Very soon, we're going to head back down to Wayland, the Russell Garden Center. Todd's going to go with me again this time. I appreciated his help in January, so he's agreed.
Yay.
And we may drive down same day.
Okay.
So
Really
that's-
put the new racks to the test.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So that's Sunday, March 9th. I believe it's 10:30 to 3. It's just a lot of fun. They have amazing food trucks. The cheese food truck is the grilled cheese sandwich one. Oh my God. Anyway, if you're at all in the Boston area and you're looking for something fun to do, come find me at the Wayland, Massachusetts at the Russell Garden Center, March 9th.
And then the following Saturday,
Yeah.
we are going to do our open house again, March 15th.
Again on a Saturday, which
Again.
worked out really well in February. So
Mhm.
why not? We'll do it again.
And we will again put out our small skeins and stuff
Yeah.
for folks to sort of build their own surprise bag, and there'll be a little value discount in there too. So
Yeah, excellent.
come see us. All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
folks.
Time to crack the whip. Get back to work. See ya.
Bye.